Welcome everyone to our Ingram Micro Cloud, Google Workspace, and BitTitan webinar, Digital Transformation, More Simple, Streamlined, with Significant Value. We have a packed session today, powerful strategies to share, and we're thrilled you joined us. But before we begin, I'd like to mention a few housekeeping notes just to keep in mind. Everyone on the call is muted by default, so please use your Q&A panel on the right-hand side of the screen to submit your questions and comments. We will be leaving time at the end of the webinar to address any questions you might have. We value your input as it helps us really pivot and bring more relevant webinars to you. One last thing, the session is being recorded and will be sent out following today's presentation, as well as it will be accessible on the Google Cloud streaming YouTube channel. The address will be provided during the Q&A session. The next hour is power-packed with esteemed presenters who will jumpstart the webinar with focusing how to scale with more simple, flexible, and helpful productivity tools, learning to uncover value through automated migration processes. We'll also be addressing identifying key opportunities to secure the win. And that's not all. We'll share some helpful tools you can use with resources, Google authorization processes, and key takeaways. And then we'll wrap it up with that quick Q&A session at the end. I'd like to welcome our presenters, Sandeep Gupta, Lead Strategic Partnership of Google Cloud, Nick Quinn, Solution Sales Executive of Ingram Micro, Jason McManus, Solution Specialist of Ingram Micro Cloud, and Adam Bell, Channel Sales Manager with BitTitan. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm super excited to introduce you to our first speaker, presenter of the day, Lead Strategic Partnership, Sandeep Gupta of Google Cloud.
Thanks, Jody. Appreciate it, and welcome everybody. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Hope you are taking care of yourselves. I know this is a time and a webinar you could have been spent doing something else. So thank you for making the time for being here with us, and we hope to make this as engaging and educational as possible. So today we're going to really be focusing in on our product, Google Workspace. Some of you may know it, some of you may have had a brief introduction to it, but we want to make sure that you're not only fully aware of it, but what is the ecosystem in which this plays. Obviously, our partnership with BitTitan is quite strong. Our partnership with Ingram Micro is quite strong, and we want to make sure that we're giving you all of the tools necessary to be successful if you choose to sell this product line. So that being said, next slide. Wanted to begin with Google Workspace. What is it? What can it do, etc. At the heart of it, Google Workspace is a collaboration and communication tool. This is really intended and designed for teams, organizations, and even us as consumers. I'm fairly certain many of you have a Gmail account as your primary personal email. I'm sure that you're using calendars and other applications to organize your life. I know I am and rely on it quite heavily every day. Workspace, it's a place, right, like work, where we develop ideas and projects in a very creative manner. Next slide, please. So what is it, right? What is the actual portfolio consist of? And we break it down into 3 C's, being our communication application, which Gmail, Calendar, Google Chat, Google Meet, etc. Our collaboration suite, which is really where a lot of the productivity lives and breathes, right? Things like docs and sheets and slides, forms, Drive, where we are able to share our files, store our files, etc., etc. And last but not least, control. And this is really geared towards the IT reseller, an IT administrator, rather, that has the ability to manage a set number of users on a specific domain that runs on Workspace. And this is really at the heart of not only deploying Workspace, but also being able to manage it seamlessly. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into, well, what can I do from a controls perspective? Next slide. While the suite is quite strong and it's an end-to-end solution, we also recognize that it is not a solo environment. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of integrations that are possible with Workspace. Workspace is an open platform. There are other technology companies that we work with to make sure that the end user experience, if you're a business organization, can still have some legacy applications that can run with Workspace, things like Salesforce and your CRMs and Microsoft, and being able to have interoperability between multiple productivity suites, and then SAP, right? Being able to import your ERP data directly into Sheets, et cetera, et cetera. So just wanted to call that out. Next slide. So what is the value in Workspace? And there's so many different ways to look at this, right? But I wanted to really focus in on four key pillars here. One, revenue growth. Revenue for organizations that are on Workspace increases on an annual basis by 1.5% because of the time savings that Workspace provides, because of the cost savings, which we'll get into here in a second. You're actually able to also increase revenue growth. The time savings, the employee efficiencies that I was just referring to, employees and end users are saving 171 hours a year. That's 21 days of work that you are now getting back to do something more, whatever that might be, right? And so that's directly contributing to your bottom line. IT cost savings, right? If you're an organization that has to be mindful of your IT and your IT spend, you're now reducing IT cost savings by 20% in the sense that you can actually spend more time doing something else, doing more strategic initiative, taking that capital and pushing that into other parts of your business. And last but not least, the data, our most beloved thing here, right? My personal data is out there. How do I make sure it's never compromised? And we're reducing that risk of data breaches and data loss, et cetera, by over 95%. So you're in full control of your data. You're rest assured that data loss and recovery is top of mind as part of using our collaboration suite. Next slide, please. So why sell Workspace, right? In addition to all of the product details that we just touched on, we know that our competition primarily focuses on bundling cloud and other productivity solutions to further complicate their existing licensing models. And that leads to customers to become a bit too entangled to consider a more dynamic dual vendor environment, right? We know that's what's happening. And so for us, Google and Google Workspace specifically, that allows the opportunities to be a little bit more simplistic in terms of integration. And more than that, it allows customers to unbundle legacy solutions. So that's number one. Secondly, we are more focused on change management and culture change, right? So these are really where, when you are engaging with C-level individuals, that are spending their time on the vision of their company, the culture of their company. Obviously, change management and culture change are two of the key buzzwords that keep coming up. And as part of those discussions, as part of revamping their organizations and inserting new energy into their organizations, Workspace comes up more often than not. So executives that are looking for a new and improved way of doing business for their entire workforce and their end customers, this is really where Workspace comes in as a second pillar. Next slide, please. a growing market opportunity. It's no secret that, the productivity and collaboration segment, regardless of the vendor and offering that you have, is an expanding TAM with time, right? To that being said, we know a couple of things. One, from our products ourselves, so we have 2.6 billion monthly active users. That's globally. That's across consumer, enterprise, education, you name it. So we know that much. We know that there are currently 170 million students and teachers that use Workspace in the K through 12 environment globally, that are using it to learn, that are using it to collaborate with their students, their classmates, and are entrenched in a way of working that when they graduate and become a part of the workforce, they expect the same type of collaboration tools in their new work environment. So this is almost like the perfect pipeline for what's to come, what the future is. And last but not least, 6 million paying businesses. This number used to be 5 million a year ago, and quickly nearly 1 million businesses have paid for Workspace because they needed a really fast and efficient IT strategy because they didn't have one. They needed a strategy that had allowed them to let employees connect and have a remote strategy because they didn't have one. So we're seeing a lot of momentum in the market. And what that all has translated into is really for opportunities greater than 1,000 seats. We know the TAM is 43 billion for this year alone. What's even bigger than the 43 billion is because Workspace, while it sits across all of the various segment sizes, whether you're an SMB or a mid-market or an enterprise, its sweet spot is between SMB and mid-market, and so that TAM is actually larger than this. So there's no shortage of the opportunity, regardless of the customer that you interact with. This just continues and will continue to grow the TAM, that is, in the years to come. But just wanted to outline how big the current TAM is for 1K seats and above for this year. Next slide. And these are some of our Workspace customers. There's a lot of logos on here that you might recognize, a lot of North American logos, a lot of global logos, some logos that are fairly new companies. Done well. There are a lot of logos here that are companies that have been around for hundreds of years. Whirlpool and Colgate-Palmolive stand out to me specifically, which are one of our end users that have really modernized and transformed their archaic business, if you will, into one that is really centered around the new way of thinking and being able to collaborate and being able to move more efficiently and give employees more time, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's no shortage here of logos. And just wanted to call out that Workspace really resonates across new companies and startups and older companies like Whirlpool and Colgate-Palmolive, and at a global level. Next slide, please. So how is Google different? What is it about our product and our services that really means something to our end users? And really we'll boil this down into 3 simple things, right? Simple. It's incredibly simple in the sense that everything is in the cloud. All your data is accessible from any device that you're on at any given point, and it's completely seamless, right? Number one. Number two, it's helpful, right? Instead of, distracting or adding multiple steps to get something done, Google Workspace actually anticipates your needs and augments your work so that you can maximize your time, right? So the same Google AI and ML that is in our Pixel phones, in our Chromebooks, and in our search, etc. It's the same AI and ML that's actually incorporated as part of Workspace as well. So it's actually helping you get your work done even faster. And lastly, flexible, right? No matter where you are, what device you're on, it just works, right? Just being able to have seamless access to your data as you should because it's yours is a truly powerful thing. And so these are really the three simple things we want you to remember about our product and our services, that is Workspace. Next slide. And I wanted to close off on what I started with earlier, which is Workspace is really an end-to-end solution. It encompasses the 3 C's, and it seems like it has everything it needs to be the single solo solution. However, it actually can run in dual environments as well. So the first thing I wanted to mention here is it provides significant cost savings with the end-to-end solution that it provides, and it's often compared in categories such against other video conferencing solutions like Zoom and chat applications like Slack and Box, right? So one, just from a cost perspective, you're actually saving 70% and more against these other siloed applications that you need to run at your end user. You're getting a lot more at almost 70% or less. And the next thing is the environment that I was talking about, right? We know that, next slide, please. We know that in a dual environment where Microsoft Office is present, we actually integrate with Microsoft Office. And even with integrating with Microsoft Office and using parts of Workspace that complete Office or complement Office, and even compete against Office, but are preferred by the end users on a specific domain, you are still able to integrate and also still have a lower monthly cost, almost up to greater than 20% in monthly cost. And not only do you save money, but you're also giving your end users choice, and you're giving them the choice of working on something that they prefer. They're working on something that's a little bit more seamless to use, and this is one of the myths of our product, which is it's a siloed product, which it is not. So just wanted to call that out here. And with that, we're going to go through a little bit of okay, well, now that I know what the product is and I want to make some potential changes, how do I think about migration? And how do I, most importantly, think about how to do that from an automated perspective? And with that, I will hand this over to our friends at BitTitan and Adam Bell.
All right. Thanks very much, Sandeep, and really appreciate the intro there. And yeah, absolutely excited to be talking with the audience here today about how we can help you uncover value. You know, you just, let's say you're a new Google partner or you're a long-term Google partner. At some point when you are selling these new Google Workspace SKUs and offerings, then you need to be able to implement those. And the best way to implement those is with automation from BitTitan. That's going to be the best way for you to get your customers' data over to that new Google Workspace solution. So let's take a quick look a little bit here. As Sandeep just mentioned, my name's Adam Bell. I'm Channel Sales Manager for the Americas here. So this is just a really quick, hey, who is BitTitan and what is MigrationWiz? MigrationWiz is the tool that we created a little over 12 years ago. We've been migrating workloads to the cloud for a very long time. And we have since added new features and functionality, new workloads that we support. And over the years, we have seen the increase in demand for Google as a destination. And so We do support migrations to Google Workspace across mail, documents, archives, PSTs, and even cloud-to-cloud migrations. So BitTitan, we've been around for over 12 years. We have over 45,000 partners worldwide, and during that time, we've moved over 22 million users to the cloud. So we are your leader in the space. Now, let's talk a little bit about what made us that leader, MigrationWiz, and the technologies that we leverage. So MigrationWiz is cloud-based data migration with automation. And it's very, very easy to use. It's 100% SaaS. There's no special training, certifications, installations required of any kind. You can simply pick up the tool, use the easy-to-use UI, and start your first project. It's really fast and scalable. We have capabilities of migrating hundreds, thousands of mailboxes at a time. We will, on the back end, spin up more instances, more servers on your behalf to make sure that we've got the right horsepower to power your migration. We can migrate terabytes of data in a day. So the other great news is that we're very secure and compliant. As we migrate your data, we are doing so meeting military-grade encryption while it is in transit and at rest, and it will meet the certifications for HIPAA, PCI, SOX, GDPR, and more. So you can trust that it's going to be a very secure and compliant migration in addition to being fast and scalable. And how our tool migrates data is it's just a copy and paste. So we will never delete a file or lose a file. In those 22 million users that we've moved over the years, we haven't lost a single file, and we're really proud of that. So you can, with confidence, deploy us on your next project. Whether it is an SMB project or an enterprise project, it can scale up or scale down to handle the project that you've got set before you. So you'll be able to get tremendous value out of it, even if you're just migrating 5 users over to Google Workspace, or if you need to migrate 50,000 users, we can certainly handle some of those enterprise-grade complexities that you'll face. So those are some of the top reasons why partners use MigrationWiz, and this is really the why that they standardize on it, because it will transform your business. It's not just about a tool that automates a service. It's about how we can really help you transform your business by completing deployments 10 times faster with BitTitan versus doing a migration manually. You're going to have a richer customer relationship experience. You're going to be able to deliver services faster, which means you're going to be able to hit scale faster. You're also going to be able to save on your labor costs. You can assign junior level engineers instead of senior level. And just kind of candidly here, I'm a sales representative by nature, and I don't have that much of a technical background. But as part of my onboarding at BitTitan, I had to successfully complete 3 migrations without any oversight, and I was able to do that. So imagine what you and your engineers will be able to do with this tool in your hands, right? You'll be able to save a lot of time and be able to get those services out faster. And in doing that, you're going to be able to scale your business and get to more projects in a faster way. This is going to allow you to enable more service offerings, right? If you're a first-time Google partner or even a long-time Google partner, expand out. Don't just migrate mailboxes. Migrate the rest of their data stack, the documents, the archives, the PSTs. These are all new revenue services that you can charge for with your offerings. And when it comes to enabling digital collaboration, that's exactly what a CloudWorks office suite like Google Workspace is able to do for you and your customers. And you can do that. You can enable that work from home with a 100% SaaS-powered tool. You don't have to go on site for these deployments. You can use our tool completely online. You can access it anywhere, any device. You can be doing a migration from your smartphone, your laptop. You can kick off as many projects as you want, have them run concurrently. There will be no issues, no slowdowns, and that's going to add value to your customer relationships because they won't have any downtime as they switch over to Google Workspace. And, you know, we made it easy for you in the Google camp. We said, hey, let's just make one license. It's going to be the best license. It's the do everything license. And we even made it cost less than our single workload license. So we did that just for our Google community. You are getting a great cost savings break on that licensing, especially through Ingram Micro. So how our licenses work, you'll need one license per user that you're going to migrate, and you'll provision one Google migration bundle through Ingram's cloud marketplace. And that's going to allow you to migrate the mailboxes, documents, and archives with that license over to Google Workspace. These are just some of the source destination combinations we support. It's a graphic. We do support more than that. And if you want to look that up or reach out to us and ask us if we support your specific project, odds are we will. Just let us know and we'll be happy to help you there. So you'll need one license per user you move, and while you assign that license will get consumed. So if your first project with us was 50 users, you could buy 50 licenses, migrate those users, mail documents and archives, and then your next project is 100 users, you would need to provision 100 additional licenses to assign to that project. So the MSRP on this license is $11. Your Ingram price through us is a little less than $9. So that is a great value for you to be able to automate that migration service and save tremendously on the labor. So we're going to take a look now at how we can help you increase your profitability by delivering migration services. You know, when you're selling Google Workspace, you need to be able to migrate the customer's data there. And we're going to help you transform the way you do that. If you've been doing it manually, that means you're sitting in that first column there where that large green section on the bar chart is, that's your cost of goods, unfortunately. There's a lot of labor that goes into doing a manual migration, and unfortunately, that will shrink your profit margin. We're going to be able to enable you to have a 90% reduction in time when you use MigrationWiz. That's going to yield tremendous profits for you. Looking in the middle bar chart there, we're going to significantly lower your costs and radically increase your margin because you're going to complete the same project in 1/10 of the time it would take to do manually. And for those of you out there that may be, wondering, well, hey, what is that last one where everything kind of shrank? That just shows you have the flexibility to do this. If you know you're competing against another partner down the street, and you're both bidding on the same book of business, maybe you decide, hey, I don't need to get a gaudy, 300% profit margin on my migration project. Maybe I'll shrink my profit margin down to still a really healthy 75% on my migration, and your overall bid will come in just under your competitor, and now you just knock down another customer, another client. So really great way to increase profitability, but also add scale. But I really want to kind of walk you through what this actually looks like and how we can transform the business. So I want to show you what it looks like when you have, when you're doing, this is the math that I think everyone needs to do when you're doing a manual migration of 100 users. This is just the example I'm going to use here. The math would hold true. It's percentage-based math, so that's always great. It would hold true if you're doing 50 users, 20 users, 1,000 users. It just follows right on through. So for our example, we're doing a 100 user migration, migrating mailboxes and documents. And if you were going to do that migration manually, on average, that would take you 50 hours to complete. That's a lot of time, right? And you're going to need to put a senior level engineer on that because there's a lot of things that can come up in a migration, the project complexity. You want to have someone with really senior level knowledge of all these different systems, because you lose somebody's data during a migration, you just lost the customer. So you can't risk that. You got to put your higher paid resource on there. You extrapolate out what your labor cost is. Tools cost, hey, you're not using a tool today, so you don't have to pay for anything, right? But then, there's some remediation costs you're going to need to tack on there. Typically, it's about 10% of the labor cost you put in there extra for project cleanup and that kind of thing post-migration. there's your total cost of goods. On this particular project, let's say you were charging $50 per user. That means that your total amount that you would bill out for this would be $5,000. There's your profit, and hey, there's your profit margin. That, you know, hey, that doesn't look that bad, right? 45% profit, nobody's gonna turn their nose up at that. But let's look at how BitTitan will transform this exact same project into substantially more revenue for you. With BitTitan, it's only gonna take 5 hours, right? Our time-saving automation is gonna make this project go that much faster. You can put a junior level tech on here instead of a senior level tech because you don't need to have all of those different understandings of various systems. We simplify the UI and the migration experience such that you can assign that junior level tech. Your labor costs just went down significantly. There is a tool cost. This is, I actually went with MSRP on this, and this is a little bit high for what you would see on this. Your cost would actually be a little bit under this, but wanted to give you, I didn't want to lowball it for you. So looking at the remediation costs, this would be, again, 1/10 of the labor costs tacked on. There's not as much remediation necessary because our automation is going to take care of that project in a much better way for you. So there's your total cost of goods. Still bill out the same rate. And that's a really important thing, I think, for everyone to understand. Just because you're completing the project in 5 hours doesn't mean you should bill any differently for this project. They're paying for the service. That's what you're delivering. So your profit, obviously, significantly up. Profit margin, that's actually a 63% increase over the 45%. So now you're up to 74%. And that sounds great. We've increased your profitability. We've reduced your labor and remediation costs. And again, continue to charge the same rate per project. But it's not just about what BitTitan does for you with one project. Because if you're comparing the two and you say, hey, manual migration, I'm making this much, BitTitan migration, yeah, I'm making a little bit more, but how is this really transforming my business? Well, the answer is, remember, it took you 50 hours to earn that $22.50, whereas it only took you 5 to earn that $36.75. That means that you could complete 10 projects in the same time it would take you to complete one project manually. This is how we can really transform your business and enable you to scale your services so that you can earn more with the automation that we provide. You could do 10 projects in the time it would take you to do one. Now, obviously, you probably don't have 10 migration projects lined up and ready to go. I certainly hope you do. But that said, you get the idea of how valuable your time is, completing that same project that much faster, put that billable resource towards something else, wrap up that deployment, and get on to the next one, right? So that's how you can really ramp up your services and increase your earnings. And this is all, again, about time savings. And I think it really pairs well with what Sandeep was talking about earlier. And, you know, just the time saving efficiencies that Google Workspace provides to its users. I mean, 171 hours saved in a year, that is phenomenal. That was 20 days that you're getting back, right? That is real time. And in the same kind of way, BitTitan can help you get real time back that you can use to go out and earn and win new business. So definitely consider that as one of our core values. So hopefully this all sounds great to you. Here's some resources and ways that you can get started with BitTitan. We'll have these links available to you, and I know you'll have this as a recording as well. So go out, watch this video. It's a great video to show you how to create a BitTitan account, how to get some free licenses, get those into your account, and start your first project. It's a little 3-minute video. Highly recommend that if you're seriously interested in pursuing data migration automation with BitTitan. We've got a short survey there. Another way for you to get a couple of free licenses, take advantage of that. And of course, we've got world-class 24/7, 365 support available to you. And we also have a vast library of KV articles where you can go look up any project that you're working on, source destination combination, look it up. You're doing on-prem exchange 2007 to Google Workspace. We've got that guide. We've got the Lotus Notes guide. We've got the IMAP and the POP guide and the O365 to Workspace guide. We've got them all. So go take a look and get started today. So with that, I will toss it over to the Ingram team to land this for us. So thanks everyone for the time today. If you got any questions, throw them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end of the session for you.
Perfect. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate your time in joining this webinar, and some tangible ROI there with both BitTitan and Google Workspace, which Sandeep covered earlier in the presentation. Moving on here, you know, how do we go for the win here? Who to reach? It starts with talking with the right people. Are the right people in the room? Are they involved in the discussion? Are we talking to the right people who really matter? The most common pitfall I've seen with Google Workspace is not talking to the right people. So we want to start there. One thing to emphasize if you're looking at this here, the BDMs, they're not the final decision maker. It is important to involve them in the discussions early. As without a push from them, the ITDs often don't have a reason to look for an alternative solution. So you can kind of see the buyer, the C-level, so on. You see the examples, the titles, the decision makers for the ITDMs, and then you also have the line of business with the BDMs, you know, the sales and so on and so forth, who are really kind of pushing for that final, for the decision maker to influence a new strategy. Identifying the opportunities, this goes back to the TAM that Sandeep was talking about earlier in the presentation. You know, where do we fit best? You know, you can see the different verticals that we provide here, the number of employees, you know, no enterprise agreement, kind of what their current platforms are. You know, you see best, good, and opportunistic. You know, and I think, you know, we kind of touched on I think the TAM was $43 billion over here. So I think, you know, something to really look at is how you're attacking these opportunities and what's going to be the best fit for Google Workspace Suite. So conversation starters. My personal favorite is online versus desktop and mobility. Depending on who you have in the room, these are some great questions that hit upon the challenges from the previous slide that we kind of spark a great discussion with you and the prospect. You know, I find myself stuck in a Google bubble sometimes, and I used to think Office 365 was just like Google Workspace, but with Microsoft. The truth is it's not. There are delays in refreshing. Users get locked out of documents. Sometimes you cannot edit one thing at the same time as someone else. This is not something people enjoy. Definitely, I would ask some questions around that pain. Workspace mobility is huge. We've launched new assets specifically to address frontline workers, or as I lovingly call them, disconnected workers. They're the closest to the customer and often have the least amount of access to data. We solve that problem with a ton of security, very little administrative overhead, and a great product for the end user. Look for platform duplication. This is adding cost and complexity. I think, you know, Sandeep touched on that earlier, you know, the mixed environments that obviously Google plays very well with, but also just the cost savings. If you're looking, you know, whether they're paying for a video sharing solution, video conferencing solution, file sharing, so on and so forth, those really drive up end user costs, and this could all be satisfied, you know, in the Google Workspace SKU. And ask about the preparing for the millennials. You know, it's no secret Google is the most dominant person in education, higher education. These are the tools that our children of today are growing up using. When they get in the workforce, they're probably going to want to use something that's very familiar to them. So that's certainly, you know, you can see a lot of different questions there. I'm not going to read through each one of them, but you know, obviously security, we've touched on that a lot of shadow IT and stuff like that. So certainly these are some good conversation starters when you're discussing Google Workspace. So productivity qualification, some good signs, some red flags. Involve C-suite executive and leadership skills, business expertise. You know, these are the decision-making skills. You know, people that are frustrated with status quo have a business case with ROI and cost where it's not the breaking point. Think about the millennials, which I mentioned earlier, Gen Z, how they're reshaping the workforce. There are about 90 million students with an EDU license. So that's 90 million potential customers in the future. Willing to invest in transformational and cultural change. You know, have they used Google Workspace before? one of the C-suite has kids that are using Google Workspace apps in school. These are all good things to certainly qualify, or good signs that a change that you could actually implement this change. Obviously, focusing on price, it could be a red flag, but I also think there's ways to combat that as well because of the price savings. Kind of talking on the ROI that Sandeep talked about, as well as Adam with just moving the migration. But I mean, you're also talking about all those other SKUs that they're buying unnecessarily. The Zooms of the world, the Box, Dropbox, so on and so forth. This is all going to be satisfied within the apps that we love within Workspace, Google Workspace. I want to kick it over to tools you can use to my counterpart, my partner in crime here, Jason. Jason, have at it. Thanks.
Hey, appreciate it, Nick. Thanks so much. So yes, we all saw that and heard that great information that Adam and Sandeep and Nick just shared. Now we want to put it together with tools you can use. I think most importantly, after we hear what we can do, we want to have tools to also equip us so we can have those great conversations. So on the next slide here, we want to reiterate that we have a Google Cloud sales box, right, for you to reach out to us, let us know any questions, comments, concerns that you have. We have a team on standby to help you in this path. But not only that, we look forward to working with you. For many of you that are just joining our authorization today, let's get you started. Let's create a journey together. And for those of you that are tuning back in and have been with us for a while, raise those questions. What's top of mind? Where can we help? I think ultimately we want to circle back on where you stand and what assets, what resources do you need to have better success? So feel free, reach out, raise those questions, and let us provide a hand where we can. Another great opportunity, too, is we do have a new promotion. We're going to send the link out. For any opportunities that you bring us, we'll also incentivize and give you a marketplace credit. So once we share this deck out, feel free, click that link. All the info is attached on what that promotion is. Put very simply, it's an opportunity where any Google opportunity, Workspace opportunity that is net new, we will incentivize and throw you a marketplace credit so we can fulfill that and map you to your next. So know that that's there for you, and we'd be happy to discuss those details. On the next slide here, we wanted to add this one because, as you know, G Suite was just rebranded to Google Workspace. And within Google Workspace, there's been some questions on what is it? What are the new plans? What's the new excitement? Why does everyone want it? This is the comparison guide that will go through each plan, what those feature sets are, to make sure that you can have that impactful conversation so it makes sense to your customers and they feel like that plan really fits for them. So this deck will be shared. That link's available. Bookmark it, use it to your advantage, and really break down those plans to see where we can either migrate that environment into something that's going to be bigger and greater, or fit them into that product set that fits for them. Maybe there's feature sets that they're paying for today, as Sandeep mentioned, that we can knock off and start saving some money. So all great conversations to be had there. On the next slide, we also want to lean in on what's free and available to you. And one tool that we always encourage you to take advantage of is our Google Partner Advantage program. So if you're not already enrolled, I strongly suggest you do, because if you feel like this training was helpful, but you're eager for more knowledge, Partner Advantage program will go through all of our offerings in further detail, from deployment, from product knowledge, whatever angle you feel is best fit, that you need to incorporate that into your sales channel. So what this is, it's a one-stop destination for you to access not only the trainings, but also news and resources. This will be announcements, product updates, and technical documentation. So it's also a repository for marketing, sales, support, and some of those technical resources to help you leverage our Google Cloud offerings. So access to this portal, as I said, is at no cost, and also is a requirement for our enrollment process. So although you will be required to enroll, certainly circle back to it and know that's there for you to help. On the next slide here, we also, of course, have more and more resources for you to take advantage of. One that we're super excited about, I'll start with, is our vlog series. It's a YouTube channel that we're going to provide any helpful videos that we feel is is best at the time to equip you even further. The link is there. That's going to be launching rather soon. And also the go-to-market automation hub that's available in our cloud marketplace. So what's really fun is over the past year, we've made some fantastic updates here. And when we think about delivering cloud solutions, this is an unmatched hyperscale platform that's really going to help you increase your deployments. So the go-to-market hub, as we put it, is really our go-to stop for all marketable materials that you can co-brand with your organization's information to create anything from web blasts to email campaigns with the analytics, along with multiple resources that are constantly being updated to reflect the most current information. So know that that's there for you. And a lot of folks that have been on the marketplace for years don't know that that's, I should say, available to them. So I encourage you, write it down, check that off your list once you check it out, and know that the go-to-market hub is truly a difference maker when you reach out to your customer base and let them know that there's other options there, and also to help increase your sales deployments and the experts in those fields. So skipping over to office hours, we do have registration. It's the third Wednesday of every month. We're going to keep this going for you to join us. It's really unconventional, and the registration link is there. Hop on in, bring your questions, and ultimately just talk as a team, right? Other partners of ours will join. We can share conversations, talk about what's working for them and what's not, right? The good, bad, the ugly. So join us there, and we're excited to meet. Nick and I will be alongside you to answer anything from an Ingram perspective. We also have a Google Club swag store, which is accessible from our cloud tab for you, also coming in May. So more to come there, but we also have some great incentives, some swag gifts, if you will, to encourage some of our conversations and make sure that you're toe and hip with us. Skipping over to our next slide here, which is our simple authorization process. So if you haven't done it, let's get you set up. Let's start with step one by just filling out our simple authorization form. Literally, when I say simple twice like that, it means it is simple and it takes 30 seconds to complete. So fill that out. Let us know what solution sets you're interested in, and that will allow us to at least know that you've raised your hand, but also encourage you on this path. We're going to get you through one through, what do we got here? 1 through 5, which is next step is creating a cloud identity. A cloud identity is basically just a profile. It's endpoint administration that's available in Workspace, but as a standalone product. So you don't need Workspace. You don't have to worry about that interfering with your current collaboration suite, whatever that is. It's not going to, and they're there to help you. It's going to link our APIs together so that when you bring in your customers, we're able to communicate and make this process even more seamless. Step 3, I mentioned, so I'm going to skip that. Step 4 is just connect to our channel. This is taking that profile that I spoke of and linking that to the cloud marketplace. And lastly, step 6 is full speed ahead. You're ready to transact on the cloud marketplace and leverage our team for support. On the next slide here, shout out to Jody that introed us for putting some fabulous resources, assets together, which will be a great help to you as you have some of these conversations, whether that's from a Chrome perspective or Workspace or education, right? We have a wealth of knowledge available for you, some playbooks that we just created to map you on that roadmap and make sure that you know what step comes, right? Like, okay, I completed this, what's up next? Well, that's going to be right in there for you. I encourage that reseller playbook and also the other links that she's provided. So we're going to conclude with some Q&As. I encourage you now to drop any questions that are top of mind in the Q&A chat box. I have Adam, Sandeep, Nick, and also Mike Amoya from the BitTitan team to help us with some of these questions that you bring to us. I have a few already. And let's see, let's start with a BitTitan question. And let's say either Adam or Mike, if you can answer this one. What are the key differences you would say holds BitTitan at a higher standard than other migration tools? So basically, why choose an automation tool over a free tool set for migrations?
Yeah, so I can jump in there, Jason. Hi guys, this is Mike Amoya, the sales solution specialist here for BitTitan at Ingram. The main difference is really, and Adam did already cover this, but as far as it's all about the time. So if anyone has ever done any sort of exports to PSTs and trying to move data manually, clearly, I mean, if it took you 50 hours and just bringing it down to the time, a fraction of the time of that, that's really the main goal here, to be able to give you guys to be able to do more migrations within the same amount of time. So not only is it a time saving, but you are getting a platform with dashboards, Excel files, everything that's able to show you all of the data that's being copied and pasted, anything that's maybe errored out, or everything that has been successful too. So it's nice to be able to see all of that within one platform instead of having to do it manually.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. This one kind of, if I can keep you here for this question as well, and Adam did touch on this, but I just also want to reiterate because I feel like this is a very important one. The question is BitTitan able to grab the most? Is BitTitan able to grab, in most cases, all email data and personal documents, including Google Vault?
Yes. So we are actually one of the few tools that are out there that are able to do all workloads. So anything of Google Drive we're able to pull. And then, of course, one of the main ones, and one that comes up quite a bit on my calls, is all Google Vault related. And being able to move a lot of those archives. There's a lot of tools that seem to have issues being able to have the proper connector for that. Ours is able to move all of that data. So, I mean, that has been a save, quite a few recent demos at least. So always a key point to bring out as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Shooting over to Nick or Sandeep. Actually, Nick. Hey, I'm not familiar with Workspace. What's it all about? I want to try it before I buy it. Do we offer free trials?
We sure do. It's available right through our cloud marketplace, us.cloud.im, and under the collaboration tab. So certainly go there and give it a try.
Yes, we have trials available there. Super easy to provision. So feel free, get in there. And I think there's no other experience than a hands-on experience. Get familiar with the offering before you start talking about it. So yes, I certainly encourage a trial before anything else. Or jump right into a paid. We have some very low-cost plans that I think will be a great fit for you. Sandeep, if I still have you on the line, we talk a lot about Google solutions being better together. What do we mean by that? What's an example of what that better together story is?
Yeah, great question, Jason. So I know we're talking more about the collaboration and the productivity suite here, but yeah, better together, right? Google, this isn't just the only product that Google has available for our resellers. We have a whole line of Chrome OS offerings, everything from the device to the various licenses to the Google Meet hardware video conferencing solution that is also available. And by better together, what that really means is that it all comes together. Your data is your data, regardless of the device that you're on. Regardless of the environment that you're in, whether it be at work, at home, or a hybrid, it's always going to be there for you. So better together, especially as a reseller partner, you have access to be able to not just go and win a customer, but to expand your footprint with other Google products through Ingram Micro. So that's what that really alludes to.
Love it. Thank you, Sandeep. So I want to be very respectful of everyone's time. And before I turn it over to Zach for closing, I just want to thank you all for joining. We said it as we started, but you could have spent this hour doing anything, but we chose to spend it with us. So we really appreciate your time and your partnership. We look forward to all the great conversations and opportunities to be had. So please be safe. Have a great rest of your week. And thank you, presenters today. Adam, Sandeep, Nick, it's always great getting together with you guys and talking about how we can work together as a team and really just bring that full ecosystem. So thank you all. And Zach, we'll turn it back over to you for closing.
Actually, you know what, Jason, I'm going to take the lead on that one.
Yes, Jody, go ahead.
So just as a reminder, everyone, and I know Jason just said it, we really appreciate you signing on, but this deck has so much value to it. We are making sure that we'll send it out to each and every one of you. There are a lot of links, a lot of very, very valuable assets and resources and tools that you can download. Please do give us your input afterwards. If you have additional questions, or if you really would like to raise your hand and find out more information, reach out to the sales guys, because they're definitely eager to walk you through the process. Your input helps us bring better programs to you every day. So again, thank you for your time, and watch for the follow-up information to come out via email. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.